Part 1. Her name was Ashley, and for 7 years, she was the axis I built my life around. We met at a mutual friend's engagement party. I was the responsible one who made sure no one drove drunk, and she was the barefoot hurricane doing karaoke to Shania Twain like she was headlining Coachella. Somehow, that night, she ended up sitting across from me, drunk off cheap champagne, stealing bites from my burger like we'd been together for years. 2 months later, I told my mom I'd marry her. 2 years later, I did. We had a daughter, Mia, after 3 years of marriage. I remember the day like it was burned into my skull, the little pink hat at the hospital, her tiny fingers curling around mine. It was the first time I felt fear and joy at the exact same time. Ashley cried, and I swore to be the man both of them deserved. We weren't rich, but we were stable. I worked in logistics, decent hours, solid pay. She did marketing from home, flexible schedule, always busy, which back then I thought meant productive. Funny how hindsight makes you feel like a damn fool. Our daughter turned 4 when things started to cool. Not explode. Not collapse. Just cool. Like the coffee she used to make for me in the mornings that suddenly started disappearing. The I love you that became just love ya. Her body was there, but her soul had left the chat. Still, I didn't ask questions. That's on me. I chalked it up to stress, kids, bills, her weird-ass Pilates obsession that seemed to take up half her week. But deep down, a voice started whispering, "This ain't right, Mark." I ignored it. That's what loyal husbands do, right? Trust. Support. Provide. Die a little inside. Then came that night. It was a Tuesday. Completely average. Leftovers in the microwave, Mia was watching cartoons. I asked Ashley if she wanted to hang out after Mia went to bed. Just the two of us. Movie. Wine. Some us time. You know, normal married stuff. She didn't even look up from her phone. "I don't owe you intimacy," she said. Just like that. Like she was talking about returning a library book. At first, I laughed, a confused, awkward little chuckle. What does that even mean? She finally looked up, eyes blank. It means just because we're married doesn't mean I'm required to want you. Those words hit me like a crowbar to the chest. I stood there, stunned. We'd been married 7 years. 7 years of birthdays, diaper changes, late-night ER visits, shared bank accounts, fights over thermostat settings. 7 years of love. Or so I thought. "I never said you were required," I said softly. "You act like it." She stood up and walked off like she just won an argument. No yelling. No crying. Just a mic drop and a retreat to the bedroom we used to share. That night, I sat on the couch staring at our wedding photo. She looked radiant in that dress, eyes full of fire. I looked happy, naive, like a man who still believed in forever. I barely slept. In the morning, I kissed Mia's forehead and made her breakfast like I always did. But something inside me had shifted. I wasn't looking at my wife the same way anymore. I wasn't looking at our life the same. That weekend, something odd happened. We were getting ready for a barbecue with her coworkers, a group I'd only met in passing. She was rushing around, nervous, changing outfits, doing her makeup 3 times. I said, "You're more excited for this than our anniversary dinner." She didn't respond. But what really kicked me in the gut was later, when her phone buzzed while she was in the shower. I glanced at the screen, not trying to snoop, just instinct, reflex. "Can't wait to see you today, face-blowing kiss." No name. Just a number. But I knew damn well that message wasn't from her boss, Linda. When she came out, I handed her the phone. Her eyes flicked to the screen, and her fingers clenched a little tighter around it. "You good?" I asked, calm as still water. "Yeah," she said too quickly. "Just work stuff." That's when I knew. Not suspected. Knew. Something inside me settled in that moment. Cold. Quiet. Like a switch flipped. I didn't confront her. I didn't cry. I just started watching. You want to know what a man does when the woman he loves betrays him and pretends everything's fine? He becomes a shadow. He listens. He collects. And when the time is right, he hits back, not with fists. Not with rage. With precision. I still made her coffee the next morning. Still kissed her on the cheek. Still helped Mia with her homework and walked the dog and mowed the lawn. But I wasn't the same man anymore. Not even close. Part 2. She sat me down on a Sunday morning, calm, rehearsed, like a teacher about to give a lecture. Mia was at her friend's house, and I was sipping coffee, still half asleep, when she said the words that changed everything. "There's something I need to tell you, Mark." She didn't cry. Didn't look nervous. She stared straight at me like I was a business partner, and this was a boardroom confession. "I've been seeing someone," she said. "It started a few months ago. That was it. No build-up. No apology. Just a bomb detonated over eggs and toast. I didn't move. I didn't speak. Not right away. I took a slow breath, and my eyes didn't leave hers. And she blinked. That shook her. She expected outrage. Maybe a dramatic meltdown. But I gave her nothing. I didn't mean for it to happen, she added, voice softening. It just did. You were distant. We weren't connecting anymore. There it was. The classic shift. Blame the man for not being enough. You slept with someone else because I didn't talk enough after work. I asked. It's more complicated than that. No, I said calmly. It's not. I stood, took my mug to the sink, rinsed it out. I needed something to do with my hands, so I didn't use them for anything else. You want to end it? I asked, back still turned. She hesitated. I think it's best for both of us. And then she delivered the punch that almost made me laugh. I think I should stay in the house. It's more stable for Mia. And I want primary custody. She said it like a business deal. Like she was laying claim to assets in a negotiation. The same woman who just confessed to screwing someone else was now telling me she deserved my home and my daughter because it was best. That was when the numbness stopped. I turned around and I smiled. You're going to regret this. That's all I said. No screaming. No pleading. No debate. She looked confused. Thought she had power in this moment. But she had no idea what she'd just awakened. She told me about the affair and demanded our daughter and house. And I knew exactly what I was going to do. I didn't leave. I didn't pack a bag. I stayed. And I watched. She thought because she came clean, I'd drop it. Let her leave with half of everything and pat her on the back on the way out. She didn't know I was already suspecting something for weeks. And now, with her confession, I had permission to dig deeper. And dig I did. First, I checked our joint accounts. She'd been moving money, small amounts, to a separate card I didn't even know she had. I traced the expenses. Hotels, Uber rides, charges that didn't align with her work schedule. Then I went into the cloud backup tied to her devices. She had no clue that her photos auto-synced to a shared drive we set up years ago when Mia was born. Back then, it was full of baby pictures, birthday cakes, school art projects. Now it had videos. One of her in a hotel room, whispering to the camera, wearing something I'd never seen before. Another, just audio, her laughing and saying, "He still has no idea. God, I feel guilty sometimes." Sometimes. The man was older than I expected. From a few photos I found, he looked like some washed-up finance bro, gym-built and smug. I found his name. I found his job. I found the place they met, her conference trip to Chicago, 2 months ago. She told me it had been a keynote speaker who inspired her to pursue new ideas. Yeah, I bet he did. I didn't confront her right away. I smiled at her in the mornings. Kissed me a goodnight. Played my part. But now, every gesture was data collection. Every lie she told, I logged. Every move she made, I tracked. One night, she said she was going to yoga. I followed her. No yoga mat. No gym clothes. Just a fresh blowout and red lipstick. She met him 2 blocks away from the studio. His car pulled up. She got in. I took photos. Time-stamped. Clear shots. I sent a copy to my lawyer the next morning. Ashley came home that night like nothing happened. She poured wine, curled up on the couch beside me, and even leaned her head against my shoulder. I didn't move. "You're quiet lately," she said. "Just tired," I answered. "You still love me?" she asked, half drunk. I didn't answer. Because I didn't. Not anymore. What I felt wasn't love. It was something colder. Sharper. A surgical calm. I was done playing the role of the betrayed husband. I was building my case. I was gathering facts. And when the time came, I'd tear the floor out from under her so fast she wouldn't know which way was up. She thought this was over. She thought confession meant closure. But she didn't understand. When you betray a man who's given you everything, and then try to take the one thing he lives for, his child, you don't walk away clean. You crawl. I went to bed that night knowing exactly how this would end. Not in shouting. Not in violence. But in destruction. Systematic. Legal. Total. Because she told me about the affair and demanded our daughter and house. And now I was going to take everything. Part 3. Once she confessed, the mask didn't just slip. It disintegrated. I saw her for what she really was, a woman who slept with another man, looked me in the eye, and then asked for my daughter and my home like it was some charity prize she'd earned by surviving the marriage. Like she hadn't been gutting me in silence for months. She told me about the affair, expecting closure. I gave her silence instead. But I wasn't idle. I was building a war chest. She thought I didn't react because I was numb. She didn't know I was documenting everything, watching everything, listening to her breathe when she thought I was asleep, gauging every sigh and shift, every call she made from the bathroom at 11 p.m., every shower she took the moment she got home, not because she was sweaty, but because she was washing off him. The truth wasn't just a suspicion anymore. It was a structure. I constructed it brick by brick, file by file, timestamp by timestamp. Evidence she didn't even realize she was feeding me, with every lie, every smile, every carefully crafted excuse. 2 weeks after her confession, I had enough. I had her hotel receipts, the photos of her meeting him, screenshots of their text from the cloud she forgot was shared, recordings from the tiny voice-activated recorder I hid in her car. The way she laughed in the passenger seat as he called me mark the mute, because I hadn't confronted her. As if silence meant surrender. She didn't realize silence is the sound of a blade being sharpened. I had access to her emails. She never changed the old laptop password. She was using a second account to write him, talking about how she planned to be strategic in the split, how she'd leverage the sympathy angle to make sure I looked cold, distant, and unemotional to the court. She'll play the good mother, I told my lawyer. Dana, steel-eyed and straight-backed, flipped through the file I handed her. She's going to lose custody if we handle this right. That's the plan. I filed for divorce the next day. Grounds: infidelity and endangerment of the child's emotional stability. That night, Ashley sat at the dinner table across from me and said she was thinking about changing the kitchen cabinets after the divorce finalized. Like she was still settling into her future in my home. Like she thought she'd already won. I smiled. They'll look great in your next place. She laughed short, nervous. You're not keeping the house, Mark. It's not fair to Mia to move her. Of course not, I said. That's why you'll be leaving. That wiped the smirk off her face. I didn't go into details. Let her stew. Let her wake up every morning and wonder why I wasn't panicking. Why I wasn't begging. Because begging is for men who've still got something to save. She tried to charm me a few times. Sat on my lap one evening with wine on her breath, tried to slip her hands under my shirt. I let her get close. Let her think the hook still held me. Then I whispered in her ear, "You're the most beautiful lie I ever believed." She froze. I stood up and walked out of the room. Her manipulation didn't sting anymore. It just bored me. The court hearing was in 3 weeks. That gave me time to finalize everything. I met with Dana twice a week, and every session felt like war prep. I had witnesses lined up, including her coworker, who'd been fed up with her behavior and agreed to testify. I had logs, emails, receipts, security footage. The works. We filed to freeze the joint accounts. I moved my checks to a separate bank under my name. We requested an emergency hearing to establish temporary custody, and the judge, upon reviewing the evidence, awarded me primary custody until further ruling. Ashley didn't see it coming. She came home that day and found the court notice on the counter. Her hands trembled. I didn't say a word. I just handed her a manila envelope and walked away. Inside, printouts of everything. The hotel bills. Screenshots of her late-night strategy emails to her lover. The photo of her kissing him outside the conference center. And a list of the dates she'd claimed to be out of town for work, while actually staying in our city with him. I heard her gasp. A little choked sound. Her breath caught in her throat as if she'd finally realized I hadn't been blind. I had been waiting. And now I wasn't waiting anymore. She followed me to the backyard like a lost child. You planned this, she whispered. Yes. You could have said something. I did. When you told me about the affair. Remember? She looked like she wanted to scream, cry, run, maybe all three. But she didn't. She just stood there, hollow-eyed and furious at her own miscalculation. You're not going to win, she said, like it was still a negotiation. I already have. She threatened to fight for the house. For Mia. For everything. I let her. Because I knew what she didn't, that I'd already moved the board. That I had every angle covered. And that the judge had already seen who she really was. I didn't have to destroy her reputation. She handed me the matches and poured the gasoline herself. Now all I had to do was light the flame. Part 4. Revenge isn't rage. It isn't fists through drywall or yelling matches in the driveway. It's precision. It's paperwork. It's walking into a courtroom with a suit that fits, a spine made of steel, and a folder full of truths sharp enough to bleed through a lie. I didn't burn our life down overnight. I dismantled it piece by piece, while she still thought she was the one in control. After I handed Ashley the folder of evidence, the receipts, the messages, the photos, she didn't say much. She just sat on the edge of the bed with her mouth slightly open, staring like she couldn't recognize the man standing in front of her. She'd spent months treating me like a doormat. Now she realized I'd been sharpening my teeth under that silence. And I was about to bite. The emergency custody order went through without resistance. The judge didn't hesitate once Dana laid out the timeline. A cheating spouse is one thing. A cheating spouse who lies, manipulates, and hides while plotting how to steal the child and the house? That's another. I got temporary full custody of Mia. Ashley was granted 2 days a week under supervision, not because I pushed for it, but because she had left Mia with strangers while sneaking off to hotels. The documentation made it easy. Screenshots, GPS pings, time-stamped records showing she wasn't at work when she claimed. It wasn't just an affair, it was negligence. Then came the house. We bought it 5 years into our marriage, mostly with my money. My bonuses paid for the down payment. My weekends built the deck. My hands stained the floorboards. I bled for that house in ways she never saw. But in the divorce papers, she'd requested exclusive occupancy. For the sake of the child, her petition read. The judge read the same evidence we'd already submitted. Hotel charges during working hours. Phone logs. Testimony from her own coworker stating she bragged about finally having options and being done playing house. The judge ruled in my favor. I kept the house. Ashley was ordered to vacate within 30 days. She cried when she got that ruling. Finally. But not because of guilt. Because she lost. I wish I could say I took the high road, but I didn't. I took the truth and broadcasted it. When she started spinning her version of the story to her friends, that I was cold, distant, emotionally unavailable, I sent each of them a curated PDF. Nothing vindictive. Just the timeline. The receipts. A quiet, unshakable record of who she really was. Word spread fast. She'd spent years polishing a reputation in her friend circle, the fun mom, the independent woman, the supportive wife married to the boring guy who just didn't get her. Now, she was the woman who got caught cheating and tried to take everything from the man who kept his mouth shut long enough to let her destroy herself. Even her family turned. Her sister called me and apologized, said she'd never believed it would come to this. Her father didn't say anything at all. Just sent a check toward Mia's school fund and wrote for her future. I'm sorry, on the memo line. Ashley started unraveling slowly after that. The guy she cheated with? Gone. He disappeared the second court got involved. Ghosted her like a summer fling. I found out through mutual acquaintances that he was married. With 2 kids. She wasn't even the mistress of his dreams. Just a midlife itch he'd already scratched and moved on from. 1 week later, she tried to negotiate, not through her lawyer, but directly. Said she didn't want to destroy each other. I told her, you started this. I'm just finishing it. She asked if I'd at least stop sharing the details. I said no. Because I wasn't doing it out of spite. I was doing it to protect myself. To tell the real story. The one she tried to bury under a pile of fake smiles and bad excuses. By the 3rd hearing, her lawyer was pleading for a settlement. Dana didn't blink. We froze joint assets. Split accounts by contribution, not sympathy. Every dollar she siphoned off in secret went back into the marital pot. And she owed me legal fees. She walked away with less than she started with. And still had to pay child support. In public, I kept it clean. No trash talk. No passive-aggressive posts. I let her crumble without lifting a single finger. Her own decisions were the architect of her downfall. At Mia's school, I showed up to every recital. Every meeting. I helped her with homework, braided her hair, packed her lunch. Ashley sat alone at the parent-teacher conference. 2 seats apart from me. She looked like she aged 10 years and 6 months. And I? I looked like a man reborn. I got my daughter. I kept my home. I kept my dignity. And I let the world see who we really were, not through shouting, not through bitterness, but through truth. She told me about the affair and needed our daughter and house. So I showed her what it looks like when you try to burn a man who's been quietly stockpiling water. Part 5. The divorce was finalized on a rainy Tuesday. It felt fitting, like the sky was wringing out the last of the storm we'd been living in. Papers signed. Court orders stamped. What was once us had now been reduced to lines in a legal document and a custody schedule. That's all that was left of our so-called partnership. Ashley didn't look at me when we left the courthouse. She couldn't. She looked small that day, not physically, but spiritually. Like a woman who'd seen her reflection and couldn't stand what stared back. I didn't feel sorry for her. She wasn't a victim. She was a volunteer in her own downfall. You cheat, you lie, You try to rob a man of his child and his home, and you expect what? Sympathy? No. You get consequences. And that's exactly what she got. She moved into a one-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. Not terrible, but far from the custom-tiled bathroom and quartz countertops she used to post about on social media. She sold her car, the one I bought her, and downgraded to something she could afford with the scraps she had left after court-ordered child support. Mia stayed with me. That wasn't even a fight. The judge took one look at the case files, the recordings, the timeline, and made the decision before Ashley's lawyer could open his mouth. Mia didn't ask many questions. Kids are smart. She knew something broke, even if she didn't have the vocabulary for betrayal yet. But I gave her one thing above all else: stability. I never badmouthed Ashley to her. Didn't need to. Time would do that for me. You don't have to tell a child who the liar is. They figure it out when the truth stops matching the stories. As for me, I cleaned house, literally and metaphorically. Every trace of Ashley was purged from our home. Her framed photos, her old journals, the necklace I gave her on our 3rd anniversary, all of it packed up and left outside her new apartment like trash day came early. The bed she used to sneak out of to meet him? Burned. Yeah. I took it to the fire pit in the backyard, doused it in lighter fluid, and set it ablaze like a Viking funeral. Mia wasn't home. It was just me and the flames. It didn't bring closure. Nothing really does. But it gave me a moment of clarity. That was the bed I once loved her in. That was the bed she defiled. And now it was gone. She texted a few times in the following weeks. Always the same tune, remorse dressed up in self-pity. Not for what she did, but for what it cost her. Can we talk? No. I still love you. Too late. You were a great dad, a great husband. I just lost myself. You didn't lose yourself. You sold yourself. She even tried to frame herself as the better parent once. I think Mia needs more time with her mother. I screenshotted the message and forwarded it to my lawyer. She didn't try that again. My life now? Simple. And honest. I work. I raise my daughter. I breathe without waiting for a betrayal in the shadows. I don't flinch when my phone pings. I don't lose sleep wondering if the woman beside me is lying with her mouth while her heart is in another man's bed. That peace? It's priceless. Mia and I built a new rhythm. Sunday pancakes. Friday movie nights. Homework at the kitchen table where laughter replaced tension. Her smile came back. So did mine. And one day, maybe there'll be someone new in my life. But not today. Today is for rebuilding. Today is for becoming the man I almost forgot I was while trying to please someone who never deserved me. You want to know what revenge really is? It's not slashing tires or posting screenshots. It's waking up without regret. It's living better without pretending. It's succeeding while the one who tried to break you struggles to stand back up. She told me about the affair. Then she demanded our daughter and house. So I gave her what she really asked for. A permanent reminder that not every man will fold. Some of us sharpen the knives while we smile. And when it's time, we don't shout. We execute. Now the house is mine. My daughter's laughter echoes through it. And Ashley? Ashley gets silence. And silence, for someone like her, is the loudest punishment there is. The end.